Hey, my friends. Welcome to the Pete Torre Show. I am Pete Torre, the founder and creator of this program. And welcome to episode number 13. Before we move on, let me thank my sponsors, Jackson West Medical Center, Best Practices Title, and Clutch Burger. My purpose on every single show is to inform, educate, and inspire you to grow your business and enhance your life. Today's show, we're going to spotlight two of our sponsors, Clutch Burger and Best Practices Title. My guests are Steve Bradley, founder and owner of Clutch Burger, and Giselle Breto, founder and owner of Best Practices Title. Little bit about my first guest. Steve Bradley, a.k.a. Mr. Clutch, represents the restaurant industry in South Florida. So we have a lot to talk about. Let's have a chat with Steve Bradley. Okay, this guy doesn't need an introduction. All you got to do is look at him and you know who we're talking about. Mr. Clutch Miami himself, Steve Bradley. What's going on, man?
How you doing, Pete? Good to see you, my brother.
Same thing here, man. It's always a lot of fun speaking with you, being with you. I don't know what next you're going to come up with, but I guess we're going to find out today, because that's the beauty of all of this here is it's talking with you and connecting and we had some great response after our very first conversation. And who knows what's going to happen today after this one, man. It's going to blow up, and you're going to have a line of people at Clutch the following day, which is what we want to do here. Hey, listen, we got a lot of new people, and there's some great important things that we're going to talk about today that apply to, I think, all the restaurants here in Miami and beyond that. But as a small catch-up, no pun intended, that kind of works with burgers a little bit. Tell us about Clutch Burger.
Well, right now, obviously everyone knows the restaurant game has been a little weird. Clutch Burger specifically, we've been doing okay. We got a lot of community support, so that's really what's been keeping us going and keeping us alive. And it's been actually a lot of fun. So we had to reinvent ourselves. We talked about that on the last show.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, Pete, it's just a combination of a lot of restaurant owners are just throwing in the towel. They're getting their grant money and this and that, and it's just it's about the hustle and people that are real restaurateurs. That's what they don't do it. They don't do this because it's work. They do it because it's fun. And if you can't have fun at work, it's not worth it in my book.
It's not worth your energy because there's so much. I've always believed, and I know you agree with this, is that whatever you're going to do in your life, whatever chosen field, whatever profession, whatever industry, okay, just make sure that it connects with you, that you have a passion for that, because regardless of what you're doing, you're going to go through a roller coaster ride, and that roller coaster ride is, I think it's every day. Sometimes more steep than others, but that roller coaster is every day, and you got to love what you do. It just makes you
stronger.
It really
makes
does.
You stronger. The restaurant industry specifically is one of the most difficult industries to succeed in. I mean, the failure rate on that, trying to get a loan from a bank to start a restaurant is probably one of the hardest loans to get, because your failure rate is ridiculous. And there's reasons for that. There's so many different moving parts that are going on. And if you don't know what you're doing, there's a good chance that you're not going to make it out. But man, it's just been crazy seeing, like, just on the street that we're on, we've already had 2 restaurants close this week. And I'm talking, this is, we've been open for what, 8-9 months, and these restaurants are still, I mean, the trickle down effect of what happened, it's not over yet. So it's kind of scary to see the effect of what 2020 had. We're halfway through 2021 and people are still dropping. So it's kind of scary.
It is. And I think we talked about this before. This is, it's not like, the light at the end of the tunnel and everybody's going to go back to normal again, like if nothing happened. I think so what you said, they went as far as they could. They strung it out, but you get to the point that you need such a turnaround in your business in order to make up for that lost time, that many of them are not experiencing that. And that's very, very sad. And I know there's some restaurants that have been in your street. That's Girarda and Coral Gables for a while now. And it's sad to see that. Hey, there continues to be the issue with hiring,
Yep.
and across the board,
Yeah.
especially with restaurants. Why don't we talk a little bit about that and get me an update on how you're moving forward with all of that?
Oh, find
Yeah.
me a solution, Pete. I mean, I don't know what to do here. And I speak on behalf of all the restaurants
Yes.
in our area, and I believe that's across the country. Yeah, you can say that, okay, they've been getting too much federal government aid to stay at home and not work, which is comparable to the wages they got. Maybe they had a part-time job. A lot of these restaurant jobs are stepping stone jobs. It's a job you're going to get while you're in college, or to
Yes.
help pay for this and that. These aren't, a lot of these positions aren't career positions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of these kids that are working in the game, making $12, $13 an hour, $14 an hour, and they're sitting at home making it, not doing anything, and making comparable wages. And why would they go to work? And then you have the other end of it where you think, all right, the restaurant industry is about to tank. I'm going to get out of that industry because it's not looking good. So what can I do? Let's see. I could drive for Amazon, or I could start doing Uber and Lyft rides. So a lot of people in this industry switched fields. So not just an incentivization to not go to work. We lost a lot of our people to other
Yeah,
industries.
what it does is first of all, it's an amazing challenge. I see your frustration. I feel it, man.
Yeah, man.
It's we try different things to try to attract people and talk to them about what a fun place is, and what a good experience for you, and all that kind of stuff there. But this continues to happen here. Are
Yeah.
you reaching out? Are you getting together? I'm sure you have already, with other restaurant owners, not just a restaurant owner, but someone that is as entrepreneurial as you are and creative as you are. Are you connecting with them? Are you guys having regular conversations weekly, daily? Have you done any of that?
Oh yeah, brother. We have a WhatsApp group with over 200 restaurant owners on it,
Okay,
and
great.
we're constantly just, hey, you need this, and it's all in our little network of owners. And on my street specifically, we're definitely a little bit more tight because we're all neighbors.
Sure, sure.
So, like, for example, I have a guy who's about to open up a rooftop restaurant right next to me. He hasn't opened yet, and his biggest issue is finding people. He has a couple other restaurants, I'm short staffed in my kitchen. He's like, I've got a couple of good guys, but they can't wait 2 months before I open. Give them a call and see if they work out for you. So a lot of people are like helping out by, hey, use this guy. It's all referrals right now because, I mean, with the thin headcount for people, potential employees, you want to make sure that you pick the right one, because training, that's a huge investment.
Of
Just the
course.
training alone, that's at least like a month of just trying to get someone to figure it out. And you want to make sure they stick around. Retention rate in restaurants normally is not good. At Clutch Burger, we're super blessed. Most of the guys that work for me have worked for me since we opened. But
I've
we
been there
need a couple
several
people. If
times,
you're watching this and you know someone, let's go.
yeah, I've been there, several times, and I think I visit you at least once or
Yeah,
twice a month, and I've seen the
yeah,
same little core
appreciate that.
group there, and
Yeah,
they have such a passion, and they really enjoy. They're proud of being on your team, and they know us. Told me on a
yeah, man.
first name basis. It's like a cheers. I
You don't
think you
even have to order.
I think you just, if you
Pete,
haven't done it yet, we talked about it before. Just throw that little tagline, come to Clutch Burger where everybody knows your name. I mean,
it is the cheers of Coral Gables, brother. I
it,
mean,
it,
Pete walks in and everyone's like, "Hey, let's get that 305 going with no cheese, and let's get a La Rubia. Let's go."
yeah. Gee, that sounds like my order. I
we
got a
call that the
standing order.
we got the Pete De La Torre burger. We're
The
gonna
Pete
change the name.
Delatorre burger. Let's talk about that offline here. Hey, buddy, the other thing you're facing is the jump in prices on
Yeah,
on the things that the products that take to go into your burgers, into your the things that you do there. Tell us a little bit
yeah.
about that struggle.
Well, I mean, that's a huge struggle. If you're not in the business, you're not thinking about it. So when you like, I'm comparing prices that we were paying a year ago to what we're paying now. Everything's up at least 15%, and some
Yep.
of these products are up 100%. And you take the price of just fryer oil, that's up 45%,
Jeez.
50%. So that's just for the fryers. Mayonnaise up 20%. I mean, gloves. That's the price for gloves. I mean, ever since COVID happened, skyrocketed.
Yep.
So it's like every little thing. Straws went up, napkins went up, trash bags went up. Everything's going up, and it's like our vendors are trying to work with us, but they're shorthanded too. So, and then yesterday they announced some cyber hack on some
Yep.
meat company somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah. So now, guess what that's going to do to me? Yep. Yeah. It's gonna be fun to see. So if you go into a restaurant and you see that their prices have increased a little bit, that's why. We haven't done that. We haven't made that move. But you never know. You never know.
Buddy, the bottom line is the bottom line. I
Yeah,
mean,
brother.
you got to work with that, and
Our
I know,
margins are small enough.
I've seen it myself firsthand, and I'm sure you've experienced. There is a little bit of a lack of patience on customers,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
is a lot to do with being shorthanded, not having enough people to attend to them. The wait
Yeah.
time in restaurants, is longer than normal. And you walk in and say, "Hey, there's nobody here." We'll go right
Yeah.
in, and then they have you
Yeah.
wait 30 minutes. It's not
Yeah.
that
Well,
there's a lot of people, but there's just not a lot of help.
you see a lot of restaurants that are kind of pivoting on that. Like for me, if I only have one guy in the kitchen and one guy out front, I shrink my restaurant in half. So I'm like, all right, today we're going to only do patio seating.
Yep.
And then people are like, well, why? Because I want to make sure you have good service. You want a burger within 15 minutes or 30 minutes? Yeah, I figured you want 30 minutes or 15 minutes. So sit outside, and it actually kind of worked for us. We do a lot of outdoor dining only. And then for our VIPs like Pete and people that come by, if they want to sit inside, we let them sit inside. But right now I can't operate. Only on the weekends is when I'm fully staffed. And when I'm fully staffed, I can operate at a full house. Other than that, I'm at half capacity. But the people that come in, they're getting awesome service. They're getting that attention that everyone else should get.
Absolutely.
But it's not like that everywhere else. I was in Boise, Idaho last week, and at every restaurant we went to, it was at least 50% unseated. They had like reservation signs just blocked off. They're like, "Oh, we're on a wait," and then you're looking in, you're like, "Well, half your place is empty." That's what the non-restaurateur is thinking. But I'm like, "Oh, I get it. I 100% get it. No worries. We'll wait all day."
Yep. Yeah.
So be patient when you're going out to restaurants. Just be patient with the people because they got a lot going on that people don't even realize. So
yeah, I think if you're really, 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 really hungry, if you're gonna go out to eat, maybe get a little bite of something, a piece of bread at home before you go, because just any good restaurant, okay, any good restaurant, Clutch Burger's right at the top there with great service and great food, a great environment. You're gonna have to wait a little bit. Make it an evening. Don't go in there with a rush that I gotta eat right now. I'm gonna pass out. I mean, just kind of get ready before you go there.
Yeah.
And that's so I'm sure you're giving all of this a lot of consideration, and you're trying different things, which some of them work and some of them don't.
Yeah. Well, we're just trying to stay open, and we're just every day it's something new happens. So, but we're blessed, and we're still open. So I'm not going to complain about anything.
No, I think that we lose track of that. But I think that what you're doing with the other restaurant owners and on your WhatsApp chat, keep that going. Keep that going. So you guys are exchanging ideas, and today we realize, and I know you know this as well as a lot of people is we're always concerned about. Let me not give away too many secrets, trade secrets, because I got competitors on this call here on this chat. I think right now it's just like, man, we all got to survive. We all got to make this happen as an industry, because if the industry is hurt, we're all going to get hurt.
Yep, it's we're all in the same boat. So we're just trying to stay afloat.
So my message to my viewers right now, as you're listening to Steve and sharing his challenges and what he's going through. Number one, make it a point to go out there and enjoy Clutch Burger. But when you go out there, be a little bit patient. Understand what they're going through. They're trying to make sure that they continue with the quality and the service and the environment. So let's consider them and everything they've gone through in the last 15 months. And just be a little bit more understanding, and then it's all going to be great for everybody.
And if I could just say one more thing, just support local. I mean, come to Clutch, that's great. But if you have the option to go somewhere that's a huge corporate, and the next door there's a nice little mom and pop restaurant. Go check it out. Get out of your daily creature of habit spots that you go to and go support some small local businesses. Write them a 5-star review. That's stuff that doesn't cost any money. Help them out and stop ordering Uber Eats and online delivery. Go pick it up. It literally takes out. That takes more than our profit margin. So stop doing that.
It really does.
Please.
So for the viewers that have not gone to Clutch Burger yet, what's the address and what are your hours?
It's 146 Geralda Avenue in Coral Gables, and we are open Tuesday through Sunday, 11 a.m. until whenever anyone wants. So it's kind of fun. I usually till about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock on the weekends. And we have over 80 beers. So if you're a beer guy, we actually have the Clutch University of Beer. That's our first event on June 17th. We have we sold out, but it's 17 samples of beer paired with food with beer owners or beer reps that are going to be there talking about it. So we're going to do it every
Thursday.
Yeah, every third Thursday of the month. So this is the first one we're doing, but in July we'll do it again on the third Thursday, and it's just going to be a beer class. You get to try 17 different beers,
right?
And,
so
see what you like.
If you can, if I could sneak in through the back door and just sample one.
Yeah, I got you. I got a ticket for you, Pete. I got
You're the best, man. Brother, keep hanging in there, man. It's all worth it. It's worth the fight. You're going to take a look back at, and you're going to say, man, we've grown. We've gone to that next level. Just keep doing what you're doing, man. It's all going to come together. It really will.
I appreciate you, Pete. God bless you, brother.
Same thing, man. Enjoy yourself. Make it a Clutch day.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Big thanks to Mr. Clutch himself, Steve Bradley. And now my second guest, Giselle Bretto. She's a very successful woman entrepreneur with over 25 years servicing hundreds of clients with their title insurance needs. Let's tune in and listen to Giselle. Okay, now on board on the Pete Delatorre Show is Giselle Bretto, the owner of Best Practices Title. How are you, Giselle?
I'm excellent, Pete. Thank you. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic. Thank you so much for coming back on the program and for being one of the sponsors of the Pete Delatorre Show. Thank you very, very much for that. For the benefit of some of our new viewers, and we've been very blessed with growing our audience and bringing on a lot of folks from South Florida, the state, the country, and the world. So tell us about, no pressure now, Giselle. Tell us a little bit more about Best Practices.
Sure. Best Practices Title is a boutique title and escrow services company. We are headquartered in Coral Gables. We service any client that will be either refinancing or purchasing any kind of real estate in the state of Florida. The entire state we can manage. And that is our services.
Giselle, there has been an absolute boom in the real estate market throughout COVID and beyond now. I mean, it's off the charts. Homes are are flying off the market. They come on and they're going out and the prices is crazy. How is that affecting your business? Obviously, do you have a full plate? Is it about as normal as it gets for you? How are you going through all that?
So obviously, it wasn't anything that we could have foreseen at the beginning of COVID. In fact, on the contrary, with every business, there was a concern as to how that, being shut down or whatnot was going to affect our business. Real estate, fortunately for us or anybody in my industry, had the opposite effect because with lending practices and rates going down, it allowed money to be borrowed at a low rate. And because of that, real estate inevitably increased, the sales or refinances thereof. I talk to a lot of clients. I think that a good bulk of the people who are going to refinance their homes have already done so. Yeah. People were at home, and a lot that were able to continue to maintain their income, were able to qualify for financing, took advantage of pulling some of that benefit of that building equity to, you're sitting around in your house, you're like, oh, I could use replacing these cabinets or remodeling this area. And so a lot of people, I saw a lot of refinancing because of that. taking advantage of building of that equity that you've built, and then purchases, like in the angle that you were going, obviously supply and demand. There's less properties, more people out there, the prices get built up. But the good news, unlike in the past, is that I think that banks are still keeping their conservative underwriting approach. So their lending practices have not segued into a dangerous area. That's my opinion. I think, and because of that, I know that there's been a lot of people talking about whether or not the price is going up is going to be some kind of bubble. I personally don't think that that's the case. I think eventually things will level out, as more and more inventory comes on the market. I think a lot of it has been hesitation in general. If you sell your property, you put it on the market and you sell it in a day, where are you going to go? So some people have been holding back a little.
Yeah, that's a good thing. It's a two-step process. It's selling home, and then where are you going after? That plan has got to be in place. I mean,
but because there's been so much migration back and forth, in the country, because now more people are working remotely, employers are more flexible. You don't have to necessarily live in the town or city that you work in. For other financial reasons, people move around. Some people want to get out of big bustling cities. Some people want to live, wherever, more rural areas. So, I listened to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about, little areas, little towns in that were not necessarily booming residential, real estate wise, are like, and even in those areas, real estate is flying off the shelf. So it's interesting.
That's an interesting thing you bring up, because I was watching a report on the news maybe 2-3 weeks ago about folks that are leaving California and they're going to places like Idaho. And
Yes.
Idaho has this influx of people coming in that people, sadly, people say, where's Idaho? Right. And where is it there? It's supposedly this beautiful state.
The report, it must have been the same segment. It was talking about how prices have gone up like 40+% in price just in a short period of time.
Yeah. It's incredible. Things are spreading out, and it's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out there. One of the things that I love the topic of leadership, and I mentioned this in a couple of shows ago. I talked a little bit about leadership and the fact that in the past, there was a saying: there's too many chiefs, not enough Indians, right? Too many people want to be the boss and all that. I think today it's the reverse. I think there's one too many Indians and not enough chiefs, and not just chiefs, but individuals that are leaders, that are true leaders, that are authentic, that do things the right way with core, as I like to say, non-negotiable core values. You are an entrepreneur. You're a business owner. You are a leader. Tell us a little bit about the leadership experience for you. I guess starting first at home. We all need to be leaders at home, especially with our children and others, in your office, with your group, with your team. And then following that, how you've been able to take that leadership aspect and apply it to the industry and possibly some groups that you may be affiliated with. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. So becoming an entrepreneur was somewhat of a gradual segue into having been part of an organization for a very long time. And I was given the opportunity to inherit that company. And at that point, it was a logical move for me because I had already been sort of managing that operation for some time. And thankfully, I had the support of my family and my friends and obviously industry professionals that I was already dealing with. So, but like most entrepreneurs, you sort of learning as you go along. And with that, you do have to reach out to that circle or the influence around you to help you navigate that. I've always thought that, having the right mindset, always asking for help when you need it, and being a positive influence on the clients, on the people that you work with, and taking the time to listen to what the feedback is from those folks is really what can make you a leader. You can have an amazing plan and want to have it your way, but unless you're willing to have other people give you their opinion and be flexible, you're not really going to have much of a positive influence on people. I have, for the last 2 or 3 years, been part of an organization called Ladies Ledger, which are other women business owners. And we have almost like a sisterhood. We talk about everything about our families, and it's not just a professional group. I think that they have been a good support in being able to navigate, the ebbs and flows of being a business owner, because we can collaborate about where things we might need help, where, how we handle a certain problem within either our staff or client dealings. Mm-hmm. One of the ladies in that organization heads an organization. It's a nonprofit called Women for Success. So I've had some dealings with them. She's currently doing a summit. It's a virtual summit, and I'm participating as a sponsor. And we've also provided some funds for a grant that'll go out to someone who is starting a startup. It's a small grant, but it'll go to someone who might need a little financial push to be able to go out on their own. So that's where I think that I've been able to influence. Maybe it's a little steps, but they make a difference to someone, I guess.
It's great, these activities and these things that you're doing, because it provides you that environment where you're learning and from others, like you mentioned, and other folks that are kind of quasi mentors to you, and others that you look up to. And obviously you have a lot of women and people in general in the industry that look up to you. I mean, you've got many years of experience. And you've been doing it the right way every year. You do it with the right intent, with the right focus, following your values and doing things for the benefit of the customer, for the family at the end of the day. But you're also benefiting other individuals that are in the industry by setting the example. And I really believe, and I totally agree with you, that in today's world, it isn't what you say. In many ways, it isn't how you say it, but what you do with what you say.
Right.
And that is where people, I think, are impacted in a very positive way. And then they are inspired to do the same for others.
Right.
And I think that is something that, we get caught up in our stuff, in our work every day. And, sometimes you just don't have time to think about anything else about what you got to put out. And I mean, sometimes you have fires to put out and things like that. But what tools do you use to get you refocused again, especially understanding that, as time goes on, your position, your stature as a leader becomes even more important?
I really starts with just having goals and understanding where you want to be and collaborating with those that are around you that are going to be able to get you to that point. Listening to them, making sure that those who are there to support you, you're listening to their feedback, you're taking that in, you're implementing changes, you're flexible with how you approach things. Again, like you said, never steering too far from those core values. For me, it's important, especially in my industry, to still continue to reach out to, providing workshops, providing educational opportunities, even if it's just a phone call, to take the time to educate somebody through whatever the process may be, or that fire. That to me is the way that I always handle any particular problem, however big or small. And people appreciate that. So you can build that foundation with those folks, professionals and not, or personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the foundation is something that we got to keep watering, right? We got to keep the juices going, make sure those roots are strong. Because if we, like I said, and many others start with the best of intention, but they get distracted, they get sidetracked, and they get lost in the inertia of their business. But that's why I think it's very important that we get involved and hear how others are doing it and what experience they're going through. Because you and I have talked many, many times, being a business owner, an entrepreneur, can be the loneliest job in the world, because it's your business, it's your baby, it's what you're experiencing. And many, many times, by hearing others share their stories, it gives you that sense of relief is that, we're unique, but yet we're very similar in many, many ways. And I think that that's the important thing there. I know that, this is a kind of a weird comparison, but I remember Hurricane Andrew in 1992 and going through that horrific evening and going through 3 hours of just terror, not knowing if we were going to come out of that. And you feel many times that you're the only one going through that experience. And I remember hearing the radio, while I was still working there, somebody had called a local television station and started to, actually cry about what was going on in their home and all that. So it's like, that's a sad story, but we're not alone. So
Right.
It's always so good in terms of a business owner sharing and comparing notes with other business owners to see what they're going through and what they're experiencing, because that reinvigorates your business and the reason why you're in business, and helps you see a little bit more clearly there. So
I'll
I
add
think it's very positive what you're doing.
I add to that because I think that fast forward to 2020 and then you had COVID, and a lot of business owners, big or small, were in a similar position. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. And you do feel a little alone, like, okay, now I have this business, and we're going to be able to keep our doors open. And obviously in our industry, we were fortunate enough that we were able to flourish, but we were able to reap some benefits of the industry. But there's been a lot of businesses at the beginning, and I can honestly say, even for myself,
Yeah.
that we don't know. This is uncharted territory. And no one knows how we're going to come out in the tail end. And at that time is when you really do want to seek out those other professionals and say, how are we going to handle this? Can we band together in some way to, make it through? And I think that that's how we have to handle it in any situation, whether we're, growing or whether things are not growing. Reach out to others to band together.
What is the biggest lesson you learned from COVID for you personally?
Um, that's a good question. On a professional level, I think it's to balance, not only because my business is certainly best practices is my business, and it's truly a passion for me, but it's also to keep a balance and an importance of, there were a lot of people. I can tell you that I was fortunate enough to see my grandmother pretty regularly, even though we saw her at a distance, but to also be able to keep focus on being able to spend time with our families. And I know that that's not business related, but I think that is what I thought.
We all were there. We all were there. Yes.
I had people that I would see all the time. I think I've mentioned to you in other opportunities where we've spoken that we have a pretty close knit family. My husband's family. We would meet pretty regularly for dinner, and we had to put a stop to that. We didn't see each other at all, and then we just, we made it happen. We did Zoom bake-offs, and my mother-in-law would watch cartoon movies with my kids through a Zoom Zoom meeting. That was interesting, but I think the biggest lesson, not again business related, was to, put emphasis sometimes in other things that we take for granted, and the time that we spend with the people we care about. And that sort of translates also to clients. Now I feel a little differently as to how I reach out to certain clients, and not just maybe just because you want to get business, but because you want to see how they're doing.
Yes, absolutely. Well, my folks, all of you that are watching today, you've gotten to know Giselle a little bit more. Obviously, she's a very successful business owner, someone that for years has done it the right way, knows her trade very, very well. But I think that what COVID has done, and you just mentioned it, is that we've gotten to know each other more as human beings first, instead of just wearing the hat of the business person, because there's always a human being behind that. It always has been, is, and always will be. And to come to appreciate that, I think it makes everybody feel better, and you connect better with, you were saying family in this case, with your clients.
Mm-hmm.
And, you've got a lot of competitors and a lot of folks in most industries, but your uniqueness as a person makes the biggest difference of all. And I think that's very, very important. How can the viewers find out more about Best Practices Title?
So obviously on all our social platforms, Best Practices Title, Instagram, Facebook, specifically on LinkedIn would be Giselle Bretto. And then our website, bestpracticestitle.com. If you just want to pick up the phone the good old fashioned way and give us a call, it's 305-662-1600.
Giselle, thank you so much for your support of the show and always being a great guest and friend. So thank you so much for that.
It was great to see you again, Pete.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. Thanks once again to Giselle Bretto for being with us today. And I also want to take a moment to thank you, our viewers, who are with us on each episode. Keep sending in your comments, your feedback, because again, we're doing this for you. We want to be able to design a program that really means something to you personally. So keep on sending in your information and what it is that you want from us on this program. I want to ask you to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Pete Della Torre. I'm going to leave you with this, as I do most of the time. Have a vision for tomorrow. Dream the big dreams, my friends. Yet keep an eye on today, because what you do today will set up that tomorrow that you're dreaming about. Take care of yourself, and God bless.